Hi, everybody. Hi, welcome. We are so excited that you are here. I am so excited. Welcome if you're watching the class or the replay. I have a dear, sweet friend of mine, Kelley Wimp, joining me. She is incredible. She is the one who actually taught me about the menstrual cup. She inspired me to try it. I love that we have real talks about women's health, which is so important. And so I got so many questions about using the menstrual cup and what I do to support myself during our periods that we had to do a class and jump on. So Kelley, welcome. I would love for you to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you. And Kelley, can you see the live stream in the group?
I can, yes.
Okay, awesome. If you can see it and they can hear us, that's great. My phone must be a little bit delayed pulling it up. And that's
great. Okay. Yep. I can see it. I can see you. I can see the chat. I think we're good.
Yay. Wonderful. Okay. Well, please introduce yourself. I can't wait for everybody to meet you and learn a little bit more about you and teach this class with you.
Yeah, I'm excited. Well, thank you for having me. My name is Kelley Wimp. You can follow me anywhere on social media. I'm also at thewholesomenomad.com and over on Instagram as well and YouTube. So you can find me there. I'm the Wholesome Nomad because my husband and I currently live in an RV. We've been traveling for a couple of years, just loving life and spreading oils everywhere we go and adventuring and traveling. And Laura and I actually met on social media a couple of years ago, which is so incredible how this big wide world works now. And she's one of my very dear friends now. And we have all these amazing conversations about life. And that includes talking about our periods and menstrual cups and all the things. So I'm super excited to be here and getting to pour into your people. So thank you for having me.
Oh gosh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for being here. And for whatever reason, the weird tech stuff, I can't read any of the comments. So Kelley, will you be our magical moderator?
Yes, we get questions. Sure. We just have lots of friends saying hello.
Oh, hello. Good morning, everybody. We're so glad that you guys are here. And this is such an important topic that I wanted to talk about because I think it's important for us, first off, to shift our thoughts and our mindset about our period, because so many times we're kind of told as young girls, right? Okay, you're going to get your period and it's going to stink and you're going to bleed and it's going to hurt. And that will just happen for years and years and then it'll stop and you'll go into menopause. And it's this kind of negative connotation that we have around it. Whereas I feel like our cycle is actually kind of part of our power as women, and it can be really empowering. And instead of coming from a place of dread and feeling like it's going to be painful, that we can really empower ourselves. And we're going to give you some tools and things to talk about. And one of my favorite books, and again, I highly recommend that you guys check out this book because it was just a game changer for me. And I'll share it up here too. And hopefully you guys are seeing this over on Facebook, but it's Period Repair Manual. And this is by Laura Brydon. And I wanted to share this with you guys. So write that down. We'll put a link to our book recommendations and things in here too. But what I love, something that she says is that your cycle, so your period, is an expression of your underlying health. And when you're healthy, your cycle will arrive smoothly and regularly and without any symptoms. But when you're unhealthy in some way, shape, or form, your cycle will actually tell the story. And years before I got sick with cancer, some of you guys know my story and my journey with that. I had very, very painful cycles, very heavy cycles, lots of clotting, lots of bleeding. I was living on Midol and in like the fetal position. I remember just in undergrad in my dorm in so much pain that there were like tears coming out of my eyes. It was debilitating. And I didn't realize at the time, but those were early warning signs that we need to be aware of. And so it's not that your body hates you. I want you to eliminate that completely. Pain is information. So depending on how well your cycle is working or not working for you, this is really important to tune in. And if you're having really painful periods or cycles or PMS or symptoms, this is an opportunity for you to start listening to your body and working with it. And one of the things that I think is so important is it starts with food, right? You guys know this. I talk about this a lot. I know Kelley talks a lot about this, and Kelley, feel free to chime in too as we go through. But food is so important. And there's a lot of foods that can be really inflammatory. And something that I learned from my training with Dr. Jessica Drummond and the Integrated Women's Health Institute is that women that consume sugar, so women that are actually struggling with PMS and those symptoms, they actually consume 275% more sugar than those without PMS or without symptoms. And that blew my mind, because how many times, especially when we're on our cycle or our period, are we craving chocolate? Maybe that's a lack of magnesium, or, the sweet stuff, because we don't feel good. And that's how we can kind of soothe ourselves with food. But it can be really inflammatory, and it's not really serving us with the period, the painful cramping, the symptoms that we may be having. So 3 of the top 7 food sensitivities are gluten, dairy, and sugar. And so my recommendation, again, because I don't feel like you can supplement your way out of a poor diet. Supplements are supplemental, but it truly does start with food. And my recommendation would be to look at the gluten, dairy, sugar, and start to see where you can add in more nutrient dense foods, kind of crowd those things out, maybe even possibly eliminate it. It was interesting for me, especially women, if you're dealing with, especially like low iron levels, certain things like that, that can be a trigger that there may be a gluten sensitivity going on. A lot of people have a gluten sensitivity, even though they may not have celiac disease. There is such thing as non-celiac gluten sensitivity. So please check into that and see. Really, the only way to know for sure is take it out completely for 30 days and then reintroduce. But when we're talking about healing with food, and food as a nutritional foundation, you really need to give it about 30 days. And 30 days to really kind of let that tune in, see how you're feeling with that, for that inflammation to kind of calm down, and then maybe reintroduce. But that would be my recommendation, is if you haven't taken out the gluten, dairy, sugar, start there, start to kind of tune in to some of those things and how you're feeling with that, and notice that with your food. The other thing is caffeine. It is very acidic. It's kind of hard on the lining of the gut when we're talking about leaky gut, and it's hard on the adrenals. So just something to consider. Start slow. Don't cut it all out completely. You're not going to like me if you do that, but maybe, reduce by like a fourth, and then, add something in with that, start to dilute a little bit. I love dandelion blend tea, something to kind of curve it a little bit and slowly reduce a little bit over the course of a week or so. And you can kind of go from there. And that would be a good thing to do too, as well. And then I do have videos on this. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this because there's so many things that we have to tell you guys about and jump into this. But there's a video that I have on YouTube called Nourishing from Within, or if you like more of the sciencey, nerdy stuff, functional nutrition. Just search my name and those topics, and that will come up with a lot of the information and where to kind of get started with that and where to start with food. But I think it's so important. And for me, it really did take about 3 months. 3 months of going gluten, dairy, sugar free, and then my cycles regulated. I had crazy cycles where sometimes it would be, I would bleed for a week, and then 13 days would go by, and then I would have another cycle. Or I would have 65-day cycles where I didn't know what was happening and what was going on. And just changing my diet really regulated me to 28-day cycles. The cramping was significantly reduced, the bleeding, all that, just with food. And so I share this with you because a lot of medical healthcare professionals, when you go to seek advice, they will often put people on the pill. I know I was put on the pill in college to regulate my cycles, and it's not regulating anything. It's putting synthetic hormones in there, right? Did you have the same song and dance, Kelley?
Similar, but it's fun. It's interesting you bring this up because we just had Cami over on Facebook. She's talking about how she went on birth control back in high school to try to regulate her cycle and get rid of the pain. And she's been on it for 10 years and wanting to come off of it. And you and I were just having a conversation literally like 2 days ago about how we almost feel like this needs to be another class, the birth control effect almost, and how to get back to your body without birth control, or how to kind of slowly work with you and your medical professionals if you would like to stop taking birth control for one reason or another, and kind of what to expect in your body when that happens. And I think it's so interesting that you were talking about how your cycles were all crazy when you were going through your health stuff. And for me, I had no choice but to shift my diet because I have a stomach condition called gastroparesis, and I wasn't able to digest pretty much anything. And then when I went to my doctor to get, some sort of an idea of a diet, he recommended basically saltine crackers, yogurt, and ginger ale, which is sugar, dairy, gluten, right? And so it was really alarming to me because not only was it affecting my digestive health, but then I saw a really big shift in my cycle. And when I wasn't having cramps before, and now all of a sudden I'm having more cramping because I went from being mostly raw vegan to eating gluten, dairy, and sugar pretty much solely because it was what my body could digest, but it wasn't nourishing my body, and it wasn't, shifting things that needed to be shifted. So it's just so funny how we come at it from two very different points of view, and yet food is a really, really impactful and really critical place to start. So yeah, Cami, we hear you for sure, and we will we'll keep you posted on more information coming that way too, because it's a pretty prevalent issue that's been popping up for us.
Yes, we do. We need to do a class on this and kind of talk more about it. And Kimmy, if you want that book, the Period Repair Manual, it is amazing. And it goes into this in great detail of here's all of the things that doctors don't warn us about when they put us on the pill. It's not regulating anything. And then here's all the side effects that can come from that. One in particular, depression and mood. A lot of people, when they go on the pill, they may start to notice, wow, their mood doesn't feel well. And then as they transition off, feel a lot better. So yes, check that out. So many great tips in that book. And we just got to keep diving deeper, Kelley.
Yeah, for sure. I love it.
all of the good stuff.
Right.
Okay. So one of the things that I also wanted to touch on is sleep, because more and more we're seeing the research is kind of showing this, and also different functional medicine doctors and specialists are talking about how sleep is actually more important than exercise, which is crazy when we think about that, right? Because we're kind of taught, oh, you got to exercise, you got to move your body. And it's true, it's important, but sleep is so foundational, and getting good night's rest will actually do more for you than any supplement or herb. I'm not saying don't take your supplements. Supplements are important, but sleep is really, really essential. It stabilizes your HPA axis, so the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, and cortisol. So what does that mean? It means our hormonal balance that we're working on. And sleep actually improves your insulin sensitivity, and it regulates the release of luteinizing hormone, LH, estrogen, and progesterone. So your sex hormones, which are important on our cycles, and as we work on hormonal balance with that. So just a little tip too, if you're really struggling with your period and your cycle, how's your sleep? Are you getting enough sleep? What's that looking like? And we know that also hormonal changes during your period can disrupt your sleep. So maybe it's a time, and you're going to see this theme in this class of this is a big time for self-care, for rest, for taking care of yourself. And just a couple sleep tips: have a cooler room temperature. You want to think dark, cold cave, if you will. Sometimes having a bedtime meditation. I really love that. I'm doing the 21-day Deepak Chopra meditation challenge. Are you doing it too, Kelley?
Not this go around, but I've done it before in the past, about 6 months ago. It's good.
I love it. And I just like to listen to something. It's very calming. It helps me to go to bed. We love our essential oils, and we're going to dive even deeper into our essential oils, but just off my head here, serenity, lavender, Roman chamomile, vetiver, all of those, cedarwood, balance, wild orange. There's so many. And then the serenity soft gels. If you guys have not tried these, get you some of these. And it says on the bottle to take 2. I found for my body, I need 3. That was the magical number when the angels sang and everything worked well and I could sleep. But also a lot of people will get anxious feelings, maybe, especially around their period. So take 1 during the day, and it won't make you drowsy. It's not going to zonk you out, but it'll help to just kind of bring some calm and some support to you too. So work on mastering your sleep to master your menses. Really important. Read a book. Avoid the blue lights. So don't get on your iPad or your Kindle or something like that, because that actually will stop the production of melatonin, and it makes it very challenging to go to bed. But an actual book. And I've done a lot of classes on this on YouTube too that you can check out, and it goes way into detail on this. to dive deeper, because again, we have so many things that we're talking about. But anything you want to add, Kelley, with the sleep?
Yeah, no, and I think it's interesting because oftentimes we think we're getting enough sleep, and yet if you actually start to track it, you realize that you're really not. So I would encourage you, even if you think like, I think I sleep decent, maybe just track it, track your hours, or if you have a Fitbit or some sort of app or something that you want to use, track it for a couple of weeks, and then really start to pay attention to it during your cycle and see if it shifts and changes for you at all. Because I find a lot of people that I work with on a day-to-day basis think that enough sleep is between 4 and 5 hours. And then when I encourage them to try to get a little bit more and deeper restful sleep and shutting down the blue light an hour more before bed and things like this, then now all of a sudden they're getting 7, 8 hours of sleep and they feel better in all aspects of their life, but especially when it comes to their cycles. There's less cramping, less mood swing, more time to rest and heal. And I think it's so interesting that we're going to be talking so much about self-care today, because there's almost this stigma still in 2018 around women being on their period, and how like, no, we just need to kind of like man up, right? Which is a really interesting phrase, if you will, and just power through our cycle. And really, we need to honor that. We need to be in a space where we're realizing that this is a time to slow down, and that it's okay, that no, the world doesn't stop. But if we want to run the world, because that's right, we run the world, we need to have a couple days to kind of stop and tune in and really slow down a little bit. And so working on our sleep and solidifying that, I think is really important, along with everything else we're going to be talking about today too.
Oh, I love everything that you just said. And it's fascinating to me. Ladies, I would really try for 7 to 9 hours. Ideally, if you're in an adrenal fatigue situation, some of my clients will need 10 to 12. And this is prime adrenal healing season. Winter, the sun's setting earlier, it's darker. This is our time to hibernate, to honor ourselves, to store up, to heal our adrenals. And that's going to help as well with our cycles. And I can see some of the comments now, which is awesome. So Cami says, yeah, that she's dealt with depression and health concerns her whole life since high school. And that she wanted to come off. Yeah, definitely work with your healthcare professional. And those books are really great too. And I think we need to touch more on this topic for sure. Tiffany says she felt horrible when her doctor put her on it. Oh yeah, girl. I can relate to that.
Same here. Yep.
It's crazy. It's crazy. The body knows the difference between synthetics and the real deal. And you cannot trick the body with that. So very, very important. And Jenna was kind of commenting on that too. So it'll be good for us to kind of dive deeper into this. I love that you guys it's resonating with you, what we're talking about, which is so key. And then Kelley introduced this so beautifully, the self-care, right? This is truly a time of going inward, and less is more, and delegating. So I read a really powerful book called Wild Power, and I recommend that you guys check this out. Ange Peters had mentioned it in one of her posts, and I'd read it. It was really, really good. And that's what it talks about. And this means rest. This means delegating. This means getting help. We have our fun Frankie Says Relax shirts on, guys. And this is what we're talking about. Relax, self-care. Thank you, Alex, over at Essential Oil Style. We had to wear something fun for you guys for this class. And this is what we're talking about. Relaxing into your cycle, honoring your natural hormones and your energy and what's going on. And the book talks about, had a great quote, and it said, all human beings need downtime. We lucky women get a monthly built-in reminder to claim it. Rest is the revolution that is going to power your life, and menstruation is the ultimate time for getting it. Whoa.
Love it.
Whoa.
Yes. Mic drop right there.
Yes. So
good.
Because, and it's true. And this is what we're talking about with working with your body and being an ally versus thinking, oh, my body's betraying me. And what if you can plan ahead? And we're going to talk about tracking, and we're talking about some apps and some things like that. And knowing, okay, I'm going to start around this time. And what if you create the time and space for that? What if you honor yourself with that? Because we are cyclical beings, and, men have a 24-hour hormone cycle, right? Women, we've got a 28-day or about a month. So the typical 8 to 5 job is actually set up to work with a man's cycle. Not so much with us, because we've got this month going. So what if you can work with that, whatever that looks like for you? And I'm saying you actually get help. I'm saying, like, the book actually talks about, you go, you check yourself into a hotel room, you know, you cook meals ahead of time, like you rest, you take those days, especially the first couple days of your cycle, and you take everything that you can off your plate as much as possible in whatever way that looks like, and getting help. And it was even talking about making time for menstruation, where you make this time really special. Maybe you get yourself some fresh flowers, or you wear a special item of clothing, and you carve out time to rest and do nothing. And this means moving slowly and honoring yourself and healthy boundaries and using the power of no. Really, really important, ladies, with this. So much with that. Now, I'm blessed, and Kelley, like, we're blessed with the entrepreneur life, right? And we can create some space with that. But I think it's so important, especially this goes in with Chinese medicine too, and Qi, and honoring our cycles. But we're not meant to go full speed all the time. And this, when you honor yourself and you take that time to rest and really tune in, it's interesting. Like, honestly, just kind of sit with your period. And the book was talking about that. Like, sit with the pain, sit with the discomfort a little bit if you're feeling that, and see what it's trying to tell you. And oftentimes when you just sit with and honor that space and time, you may notice that the cramping and the issues get better. Like, you may notice that your body starts to kind of go, oh, hey, thanks for noticing me and resting.
I'm here.
I'm gonna work with you.
Exactly. Lindsay said she actually just got herself flowers, and she started her monthly this morning. So that's pretty serendipitous. I love that. And she's waiting on her menstrual cup, which we're going to get to in just a minute. So perfect awesome, timing.
I love it so much. Yeah. Self-care, so important. Do you have any thoughts you want to share with us, Kelley, on that?
Yeah, you covered all of it. I think I really liked how you were talking about delegating and carving out time and space. So if your cycles aren't regular now, we're going to teach you how to hopefully get to a place of regularity so that you can kind of look at your schedule ahead of time and block some things out. And maybe that's the week that you do Instacart grocery delivery. And maybe those are the nights when if you work a typical 9 to 5, those are the days when you don't schedule anything for yourself after work. And, you have a meal prepped ahead of time for the kiddos, or whatever, however that fits into your life. Or you ask your partner or a friend or somebody to take your kids or to take you, so that you have a minute to just kind of be, because I understand that not everyone leads the entrepreneurial lifestyle like we do. And so, Laura and I know we kind of, not that we shut down, but I don't get out of my bunny slippers and yoga leggings during my period, but I'm able to still work during that amount of time. I just do slow it down, and I don't get on calls. I don't do classes. I don't do live video typically during that time either, because I'm really just taking time to be really intentional with my self-care. So whatever your life looks like, I love that idea of kind of time blocking it. Almost, we time block just about everything in our 24-hour time cycle in our day. So what would your life look like if you could time block having your period? I think it's really cool.
Yes. And check out that book, Wild Power, ladies. Yeah. It is really interesting. And it's talking about your period, like a couple days before your period starts, and then a couple days after. That is your rest time. That is your hibernation time. That is when you shut things down and you really go inward. And then a couple days after, so maybe like day 3, day 4, you were getting this rise in estrogen, and that's our time to shine. That's our time to work. That's when we can go into active mode from then until ovulation around day 14 of your cycle. And that's when you can do, and you can go and you can do the things, right? And then after ovulation, day 14 to 28 is a time where we kind of go a little bit more inward, a little bit more of the receiving versus the giving. It's this cycle, it's this flow. And the more that we can work and balance that and bring that in and work with our bodies, that's where the magic happens. And so look at your calendar, like Kelley said, because that's going to show you your priorities. Schedule, block those times. It is so, so important with all of that. And then speaking of tracking your cycle and kind of going with that, there's a couple apps that I really love, and we'll post them above in the comments over in the Facebook group. So one is Flow. That's an app that I use, and I track all of that. It's really nice, and it kind of gives you a prediction, like, oh, okay, your cycle's predicted to start here. So that's when maybe you can block some time, start to look at that, work with all of that together. Another one is My Flow. That's another great app. That is actually by Alyssa Beatty. She's with Flow Living, and another great resource. I use several. Another one that I love is Hormone Horoscope. And what's really cool about Hormone Horoscope is it kind of tells you, hey, okay, you're on day such and such. And so you may notice this, this, and this. And it helps you to kind of plan your day and your work around where you are in your cycles. Like there's certain times of our cycle with our hormones that you may have more glowing skin. So maybe that's when you do your video or you do your pictures or whatever. There's certain times where maybe you'll have more energy. So maybe if you have the luxury of scheduling that presentation or whatever it is, maybe times that you need more rest. And I love to read that and plan ahead and kind of go, oh, this is fascinating. Let's work with our cycles. And then Kelley, you had one too.
I use Clue, but I also use several. I just started using Clue not too long ago. And I like that it's super simple for you to track every single day, not just your period and what that's looking like, but also things like what was your bowel movement like? And how's your skin today? Did you have intercourse? Did you not? Where's your drive at? Did you exercise? And you can kind of look at all these different patterns. And then over time, you can kind of look back and notice, again, it's all a cycle, right? And notice at what point in time in my cycle am I seeing some of these different things pop up. And I love Hormone Horoscope as well. And it's interesting because I didn't tell my husband that I was using it for a very long time. And then one day I was kind of like, I was checking it, and logging some things because I had started my period. And he asked me what I was doing. So I shared it with him. And so I challenge you, if you have a partner in your life or a roommate or whoever that looks like, to, when you start tracking these things and you start noticing these patterns, to share it with them, because it has really transformed a lot of our communication when I am just in that premenstrual kind of time frame, right? So now I know that I'm really cautious. I try to be anyway, as much as I can, and more self-aware of my words and how the different things in life might be triggering me, not simply because it's life and sometimes we're stressed and overwhelmed, but that it's a little bit deeper than that there's some hormone change or shift going on, which is causing some different triggers. It's causing me to be more sensitive. It's causing me to think or maybe communicate in a way that I wouldn't normally. And so when I communicated that with my husband and shared it, now we kind of have implemented that into our communication, and he will luckily very lovingly give me gentle reminders like, where are we at right now? What's going on here? And then hand me oils, of course. So it's really cool. So if that's something that you feel like you could put into your life by sharing that with somebody that you spend time with or that you live with, I think that might be really interesting too, to kind of see how that impacts your relationships too.
I love that. I love everything that you just said, Kelley. That's so true. I think there's an option on the MyFlow app that you can type in your partner spouse's email and it'll send them updates too of like,
I didn't know
so they
that.
can kind of get an email. Yeah. Cause my husband, Mark, will get emails. So they kind of know too, right? It's like, oh,
that's cool.
Yeah. And I love what you said, cause it's working with our cycles, pulling in our spouses with that. So we're all on the same page. All of our doTERRA hubbies know that, right? They're going to hand you Clary-Com and say, we love you. And, and we're going to talk more about that too. But that is so awesome. Wow. I'm seeing lots of comments about loving to respect your monthly cycles and giving yourself permission to slow down and say no and delegate. I love it. Yes, ladies, this is key. This is so key. And I cannot tell you how many times when we just honor ourselves, we start taking some stuff off our plate. We start asking for help with things and we can slow down a little bit because we're not meant to go. Your cycles are going to get better. Those cramps and things are going to get better. You are going to feel better and you're going to honor that. And right, this is a time to be a goddess, to be a diva. Mm-hmm. I'm reading this book right now, Healing PCOS. And she's the founder of PCOS Diva. And this is a good book, whether you have PCOS or not. Honestly, there's recipes, the foundations that we're talking about are in this book. So I think every woman needs to read this book. But she was saying it's okay for us to step up and own our inner diva or our inner goddess and say, hey, this is what I need right now. And then we can come from this full cup and this place of being all in and being able to serve, which is so, so key. And speaking of full cup,
I love that transition. That's the best.
Oh my gosh. I'm having so much fun with you guys today. Oh yes. So Kelley is my menstrual cup Yoda. She has taught me the the ways of the menstrual cup. And I was so inspired by her, right? Because I saw this and I was like, oh, this looks interesting, but I was afraid. And it took me a while to kind of build up the courage to do that. And Kelley has walked me through this. And so Kelley, please like spill all the deets on the menstrual cups. I've learned so much from you, and I'm so excited that we're talking about this.
I am too. And I'm glad you've learned a lot from me. And I learned a lot from a friend of mine. So I can't take all the credit, because I think sometimes we just have to have these women in our life walk us through these things, right? And I'm going to add menstrual cup Yoda to like the end of my name. Yeah. Kelley Wimp, MED, menstrual cup Yoda for sure. Yeah. I love it. But there's actually a lot of information out there if you kind of dig around on why we should be considering menstrual cups versus using tampons and pads and things like that. Even if you just drill it down to the bare minimum, there's a lot of like chemicals and pesticides that go into cotton, even the organic, feminine hygiene products that are out there. It's really it can be really toxic to your system. And if you're already kind of trying to detox, or you're dealing with PCOS, or you're dealing with infertility, or you have some sort of up and down cycle, or even if you don't have any of those things, but you just want to live a little bit more naturally or save money, the menstrual cup is hands down the way to go. Full disclosure, I had my menstrual cup for almost a year before I got the guts to actually try it, and called my girlfriend and was like, help me with this. Because it seems weird. It seems kind of scary. And I'll just tell you kind of what my perspective of it was before trying it, in case it shines a little light and it makes you feel more comfortable about what you think. But I kind of had this vision in my head of like this cup literally sitting inside me all day that I could feel. And then I had this like my cup overfloweth kind of fear happening, and it's just a lot of fear around it. And like, what if it gets lost in there, and how am I going to get it out? And what am I going to do if I'm in a public place? And there's just all these questions. So hopefully today you'll get a little bit more information, and then feel free to reach out to me. As Laura knows, I'm totally an open book. There is no TMI. I do not have a filter button. So if there's anything you need, I'm happy to help in any way. Jenna says she's scared of the menstrual cup. Are they safe if you have pelvic floor dysfunction? And I'll let Laura chat about that here in a minute, because I think that's a really good question. Yeah. And not something that I personally deal with, but I know you do. And that's been kind of a learning experience for me too, to kind of walk through that with you in dealing with some of those other struggles. So if you're just getting started, my very best piece of advice is to just breathe and know that it's going to be okay, and that it's going to take you a little time. If I think back to like when I first started using tampons, it was terrifying. I mean, I was a teenager, but I was like really weirded out by it, because it's this thing that's inside of you, and it's just kind of weird. So just know that it's going to be okay, that you have lots of support around you, and that if it doesn't work out for you the first couple of goes, it's all right. Like it's going to be okay. It takes a few cycles to really get into it. It took me, I would say, probably at least 3 cycles to feel really comfortable and confident with my cup. So you could start by going to a website, and I think Laura was going to share it with you here.
Yes, I will put that screen share up.
Perfect. Putacupinit.com. And actually, I didn't even know about this website. So feel free to chat with us, Laura, about how you found it or what you like about it.
Yeah, this is neat. This was actually an Instagram follower of mine who shared this with me, and it's a beautiful resource. And then here there's a quiz. Yes, ladies, you can find a cup specific for you. So you can check that out here and complete the quiz, and it will help to give you a recommendation for your specific body and what's going on. So take the free quiz. Very, very handy. There's also a really handy chart here as well that will give you some handy dandy information as far as a comparison chart on different brands, different sizes, and you can kind of look at those. That was actually really helpful for me to check out this chart and see. And so we'll link the website for you guys so that you can check it all out. But you can see how they compare, and it's all right. Your body is unique, and you have to find what works and feels best for you and for your needs with all of that. And I know for me to kind of touch a little bit on, can you have it with pelvic floor dysfunction? So I have a history of pelvic pain and pelvic floor dysfunction. And I did get to a place working with a pelvic floor physical therapist. That's actually my background, but right. It's like, you don't cut your own hair. So you go, you see people and you get help and support when you need to. And I had worked on addressing that. So I think if you've got pelvic floor dysfunction or pelvic pain, you got to see a pelvic floor PT, right? Get it evaluated, get that all looked at. But I was doing my dilator home exercise program and got to a place and I actually compared the cup. This is a Diva cup to the size of the dilator that I had, and they were comparable. And that worked well. But I will say I was fine with the whole thing except taking it out. But there's a superficial layer of the pelvic floor called the ischiocavernosus, if you want to get really nerdy. But that is the gateway to the vaginal opening, to your pelvic floor. And mine's a little mad right now. And we're working on it. It's calming down. It's getting better. But when I took it out, when you put it in, and Kelley, you kind of taught me through all of this. There's different.
I don't have mine, so you're going to have to demonstrate.
Okay, we're going to demonstrate.
Okay.
So there's one way where you just fold it in half and then squeeze together. Okay, I did not like this way. I was like, this isn't working. And I talked to Kelley and she was like, okay, girl, like here's another option. So option number one, not my favorite. I don't know what we should call this. The taco? I don't know. The U?
The horseshoe.
The horseshoe. It's not our favorite. But what Kelley taught me, what works really well is if you come down, so you're almost making like a triangle or a little rose tulip. This is what it looks like here. Much better. I was able to insert it way better and had no pain. The only issue for me was taking it out. And I could tell because it was hitting that superficial layer of the pelvic floor. So something that Kelley taught me to, don't pull from the stem, right? It's there, you can kind of use it, but you almost have to, and Kelley, it was so good, like relax, right? Like it can be freaky. So breathe.
No, the first time I went to take it out, I legitimately thought it was going to be stuck in me forever. Like I was going to have to go to the ER and tell somebody that I got a cup stuck in me and they needed to remove it. And then I was just trying to be like, okay, so I did a lot of deep yoga breathing. And once you get into that habit, it's much easier. So just breathe. Please.
Yes. Cause I did the same thing. I was like, whoa, oh no. And there's like this fight or flight panic, but don't panic, breathe. And if you can find the stem and kind of come up under and press and then come. And what I found for me is I actually have to kind of collapse here to get past that superficial layer of the pelvic floor. Now, what I'm really excited for my next cycle is, look, I used the little chart and took the quiz. Look at the size difference. Okay, I have never had a child. I've not had a vaginal birth, anything like that. So this is kind of the big mama one, like, hey, you've had a child and stuff. This is like smaller. And then this is also the most flexible material. This is a different brand. So this one's called the Scoon, Scoon. Yeah. So difference in size, big difference in a size comparison, and also flexibility. So I'm also excited about trying a smaller one. But I actually think, in my opinion, at least from my personal experience of dealing with pelvic pain and using a cup, is that it's almost like you're having a dilator in you. So I actually think it's been a really beneficial thing to kind of help my pelvic floor and work with that. But work with your pelvic floor PT, try it out, trust your body. But it's been a really good thing for me. And I'm excited again. I just used this with one cycle and now I'm going to go to the smaller one and try it out. But you got to find the right one for you.
You do. And I think you'll know pretty quickly if it's not the right one for you, especially if you have pelvic floor pain or you haven't had a kid or you have. So start with the quiz. And then you'll know, I think within the first cycle, really, if it's too big or too small or too flexible or too firm, because you shouldn't be able to feel it at all when it's incorrectly. And if you're brand new to menstrual cups, the whole concept is that when you insert it, it opens up like a flower, right? And it creates suction. And then when you are on your cycle, it collects in the cup and you can keep it in for up to 12 hours. And then when you remove it, you can just rinse it, wash it, and then reinsert it. So what I love about that is I don't ever feel it. And even with tampons sometimes, like if I would go for a run or I'd be sitting in we travel all the time, sitting in the car in a plane, I could feel it in there sometimes. And with the cup, I know right away if it's in the wrong way because I can feel it. And I know right away if it's not the right cup for me because I can feel it. So you really shouldn't be able to feel it. Some of them have a stem on them. I think the Diva cup does. Some of them are longer or shorter. So what I recommend doing when you first get started using the cup is you can trim the stem, but I would give it a couple of days, maybe at least 2 cycles before you do that, because you don't want your stem to be too short in case you ever need to grab onto it. But it shouldn't also be sticking out of you. So you shouldn't feel it like when you're going to the restroom, or, you shouldn't be able to visibly see it on externally, if that makes any sense. The little stem there, because you'll be able to feel it, and that's going to be really irritating with that sensitive tissue. We have all these comments rolling through. I do not use coconut oil to get mine in. I don't feel that I need that because there's already a lot of natural lubrication going on down there. It can be messy the first couple times. So my biggest tip that I shared with Laura, and I think I've shared with a lot of people, is the first few times you put it in and out, maybe do it in the shower, even if you don't have the water running at the moment, because that can actually be kind of drying. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have water on you, but to help wash it off and to help make it a little bit easier afterwards. And I want to try it in the shower. And then you'll kind of get into your groove of the way your body needs to be positioned for you to put it in. I kind of almost have to stand and squat. That makes sense. And then when I remove it, I do the same sort of action, but in reverse. I like squat and bear down and breathe, almost as if I were giving birth, although I have not had a child either. So but that's what I imagine people probably did before we forced them to have babies in hospital beds. So you kind of do this like squat, and it's like a bear down, and then you're breathing. And I have to do the same thing too, where I have to kind of reach up and then press in to relieve the suction on the top of the cup. And then you can kind of, as soon as you relieve that suction, then you can pull it down. Don't be afraid of spillage, but if that is kind of a fear that you have going on, just do it in the shower the first couple times, and you'll actually start to notice that my cup anyway is never full. Like I'm never worried about it overflowing when I remove it. I will say, just a tip, if you are doing it, even if you feel like you're practiced and experienced, I've been using mine for over 2 years now, do not wear a white shirt when you're doing this. Be really hyper aware, because if you do remove it and you have any kind of like last minute suction things release or happen, this can be a splatter zone. So just make sure that you're being really aware of where you are. And that's why I highly recommend doing it in the shower the first couple of times, for sure. And then just breathe, definitely breathe, all the breathing. You could even pant, almost like Lamaze, right? Like a kind of a thing to get it out, so you're not freaking your brain out. And like Laura said, going into that fight or flight kind of mentality, for sure.
I love it. And I had to do that too, right? The deep breath. And then the relaxing, like visualizing your pelvic floor, like those muscles relaxing, sinking into your pants, deepening, feeling warm, whatever that visual cue is, and the breathing and calm. And yes, all of those things matter, make a difference. Confession, I dropped mine in the toilet. It happened. It can make a mess. You just wash it really good. Right. And that's kind of the nice thing. Kelley has a great tip about cleaning these.
Yes. So when you are finished with your cycle, you're going to want to boil your menstrual cup. And the reason for that is if you go on a lot of websites or Amazon or things, a lot of times companies they're trying to make extra money, right? So they'll sell like a solution, like a menstrual cup wash or something. And to me, that kind of defeats the purpose, because if you look at the ingredients, it's mostly chemicals. It's just like some other sort of cleaner. Even though it's a gentle cleaner, it's going to have a lot of synthetics and chemicals and fragrances and stuff in there. And here you are trying to use a more natural option, and then you're cleaning your cup with this chemical-filled solution. So I just boil mine. I don't use essential oils on mine simply because I choose to use doTERRA essential oils, and I know how powerful and potent they are. And I know that sometimes our essential oils that we use for cleaning can over time degrade silicones and plastics and things like that. So I think you could, I plan to make some On Guard wipes, some like DIY On Guard wipes to have with me when I'm on the go and I need to be changing out my cup and I'm not like in my home, right? So I plan to make some of those because I think the On Guard will be heavily diluted enough. But for most of your purposes, you can wait till the end of your cycle and then you're going to just boil it. I boil it for, just a few minutes in some really hot water on the stove. And then it's sanitized and it's clean. Your cup should come with some sort of little cotton baggie or muslin baggie or something. Yay! Let's say if it doesn't, then go pick one up at Michael's or something. And then once it's dry, you can just store it in there. I just have to sometimes forget not to like leave mine on the counter when people come over, like because it's after you're done boiling it, I want it to kind of air dry, you don't want paper towel fuzzies on there or whatever. So I'll stick it on the counter and then hopefully remember to put it back in the bag before somebody comes and uses the restroom. But if not, maybe it's an opportunity for you to talk to them about menstrual cups. So it's totally fine.
I love it. on the Put a Cup in It website, they had like these really beautiful plates. Like they were like flower plates or different things. And then they had like to sit in your bathroom, almost like a place of honor. And then the little cup was on top of it. I was like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah, for
kind of
sure.
cool. Way to honor yourself, right?
Yes,
Oh my goodness.
definitely. So yeah, I think we covered all the menstrual cup things. Oh, I guess how to do it
Perfect.
when you're not at home. So this is still something I'm kind of getting used to. I actually had to do this for the first time ever at Disneyland, which was, I don't recommend your first experience changing your menstrual cup in a public place at Disneyland. It was a little rough, because the bathrooms there aren't the cleanest anyway, right? So I'm not going to lie to you, it was a little bit like a murder scene. So there was some cleaning that had to happen, because you're going to get it places. And when I'm at home, I live in an RV, so my square footage is very small, and I'm actually able to like sit on the toilet and lean forward and rinse my cup out and then submit it back in, or submit into insert it back in. So I couldn't do that in Disneyland, obviously. So I just, what's coming out of your body isn't dirty. It's not, you know what I mean, anything to be afraid of. So I was able to remove my cup, I emptied it into the toilet, and then I just inserted it, because there was no way for me to wash it out in that bathroom at that time in Disneyland. And the only places it had been was inside of me and in my hand that I had washed before I went in, right? So I wasn't too concerned about that. I reinserted it, and then I tried as best as I could to clean my hands with the toilet paper, and then went out and washed, of course, in the sink there. And then used my own soap that I bring around with me everywhere because of chemicals, and then you're touching your lady parts, and there's the whole thing that we could go on and on forever. But if you have to do it in a public place, maybe have some natural wipes that you make with you to make that a little bit easier. But just try to take out any stigma that's around that. I feel like there's still a big one going on with like periods being dirty, and this thing is so archaic, and it's really not. Right? It's just a part of your body. It's completely natural. But the great thing is you can leave them in for 12 hours. So hopefully, even if you have a 9-to-5 job, you can kind of time it to where you're changing it and you don't need to do that at work or in a public place. You can wait till you get home, or you're somewhere where you're comfortable to change it out.
I love that, Kelley. There's so much freedom in that. Like you said, 12 hours. You can go, and I put mine to the test. I did heavy workouts with my trainer and walking and Tai Chi and all the things, and it was fine. So I'm really loving it. I'm so glad that you shared about it, and I found it super helpful. So ladies, get your menstrual cup, post it on Instagram stories, tag us. We want to see your cup, put a cup in it. Like, let's all be brave together and love our body and get rid of the stigma and the shame around our cycles, and let's use them together because they're really awesome. Speaking of awesome, essential oils for the discomfort, for the aches, for the things. There's so many, ladies, and you guys know we love oils, and I'm going to fly through some of these pretty quickly. But if you're new to essential oils, reach out to Kelley, reach out to me. We would love to help and support you and kind of guide you along this journey. But there's a lot that these beautiful gifts of the earth can do to help support you. And the biggest one with this cycle is our beloved Clary Calm. You got to get Clary Calm. This, if I could narrow it down, I'm going to talk about a lot, but if you had to pick one, use the Clary Calm. A lot of people use it reactively, right, around their cycles. So you can apply it over the lower abdomen, over the uterus, over the ovaries, but use this daily. And I love Kelley was talking about just swiping along the lower abdomen, like where your panty line is, swipe on the inside of your ankle bones. Great place. That's a meridian point for the uterus, and do that daily. And I had one of my sweet oilers, that's all she did. And she noticed huge changes in PMS and her cycles and cramping and all of the things. So be proactive. It's not what we do just once that makes a difference. It's what we do on a daily basis regularly to support ourselves. So get you some of that. Deep blue rub. Oh, yes. We love the deep blue rub. So especially low back, if you're getting a little bit of that low back discomfort or aches or wherever you need it, I love the deep blue rub. You can use the oil too. I like the lotion. Personally, it's a little bit deeper penetrating for bigger surface areas. Aroma Touch, another amazing one, especially for circulation support, right? And Cypress, also really great for circulation support. So you could use this, and you can find what works best for your individual needs in your body. And I encourage you to be a detective and try different blends, try different things out. Dr. Hill actually recommended this blend. It's a blend of bergamot, cedarwood, and Roman chamomile, equal parts. So if you were going to do 10 drops of each, do that, whatever that looks like. But that's a nice one too. Now, a lot of these oils are in Clary Calm. So if you want an easy button, get your Clary Calm. But this is also another great one to have to support yourself from the amazing Dr. Hill. Geranium is another really great oil. It's great for hormonal support and balance. Again, it's in Clary Calm. Same thing like Clary Sage. Clary Sage can help to decrease cortisol levels, meaning that it's linked to stress reduction, and stress is actually related to irregular periods. It's in Clary Calm too. A very, very nice one to have. Copaiba. Oh gosh, we could do a whole class on copaiba. I've done several posts on copaiba, but it's in the oil and the soft gel. Amazing to support your whole endocannabinoid system, but whether that's discomfort or aches or just supporting your body during this time, get you some copaiba and use it. It is really, really an awesome one, as well as marjoram. Marjoram is one of my favorites for aches, discomfort. Marjoram's not one that we talk about a whole lot, I think, but it's a really good one. So I have 2 different little veggie capsule blends for you, and you can try them out and you can see which one resonates best with you. So one is actually a lot of our oils that were in the Dream Kit, the new oils that were released. So you can get yourself a little veggie capsule, $4 from doTERRA for a pack of 160. And it makes it really easy. You just open them up, you add your oil in like that and top it off. I like to top with a carrier oil just to make it a little bit easier on the tummy. You don't have to, but the IQ Megas is my favorite. Or you could do a liquid coconut oil or olive oil, avocado oil. Again, you don't have to. It's a choose your own adventure, but I like to do that. And then I do 2 to 3 drops each of our copaiba, our turmeric. This is really good, really great for healthy inflammatory response. Pink pepper, also really great for healthy inflammatory response. And then yarrow palm. Ooh, all the antioxidants. So one of our sweet friends, Bethany, actually said that she was taking yarrow palm internally every day. I think she said like 2 drops, and she was doing it day and night. And she said she had the best cycle ever. And the only thing she changed was adding in yarrow palm. So this would be a nice little support your menstruation veggie capsule blend. Another one that I will go to for aches or discomfort is actually copaiba, marjoram, lemongrass, and our beloved frankincense, and doing 2 to 3 drops of each of those. And again, I usually recommend take this with food. I love to top and dilute with our IQ omegas because omega-3 fatty acids are really important, especially with our menstrual cycle. And we'll talk a little bit more about that too. But there's lots that you can use your essential oils to help you. A lot of the floral oils too, like lavender, ylang ylang, rose in particular is really helpful for hormonal support, or if you get nauseous feelings, or if you just need energy support, or maybe with the cramps. Cardamom, interestingly enough, do 3 to 4 drops on your abdomen, and it really helps with a healthy inflammatory response, and it also supports those aches and discomforts. Even cumin, if you guys got that one, it was a limited oil, but you could add that into and just use it on your abdomen. Or fennel, add a couple drops to your abdomen. You can also put a drop in your tea. Fennel is really great also for a sweet tooth, or if you're having sugar cravings, you can do a drop under the tongue. So a lot of different ways to support yourself with the essential oils. And then again, so we talked topical, we talked internal with our little veggie capsule blends, and then also aromatically. There's some interesting research about how just diffusing something like lavender actually helped reduce aches and discomfort in people post-op surgery. So it's that emotional piece, right? It's that mind, body, soul, spirit connection. So diffuse an oil that you find that's really calming, that you like to have. And it's really nice to have that in, or the aromatherapy line for emotional support. There's tons of those. So
what I find really interesting really quickly is and I love talking to especially new oilers about this, to get them to understand that the essential oils we choose to use are, they're pretty scents, and that's great, but they're also like plant medicine. And what I like to do sometimes is imagine what the plants look like in nature, because that gives you a really interesting clue as to what they might do for you, for your body. So if you look at this list that Laura just went over, right? She went over rose and ylang ylang and lavender, geranium. These are all florals. What do flowers look like in nature? They look like vaginas, people. So these are going to be incredible oils for you to use when it comes to balancing your hormones, when it comes to libido, when it comes to working with your cycle. So you're really going to want to lean towards the florals. If you're feeling like you need some grounding, or you're like anxious because you've on your period and you have all these other things to do, you're going to want to go for like big rooted oils, right? The trees, the frankincense, the cypress, those are going to be grounding. They're going to stand really tall and kind of give us that backbone. If you need something that's like happy, I'm not happy, I'm feeling kind of blue, I'm kind of sad, you're going to want to look at those like brightly colored plants, oranges and lemons and bergamots, big, bright, happy colored plants, right? So I just think that that's so interesting. It's something we don't talk about enough, especially when it comes to working with our cycles and our hormones. So get out your florals, even if you don't like them. I don't resonate with a lot of the floral oils, but I use them because my body needs them, and plants look like vaginas. So why would I not use it on mine? Right?
I love it. Oh my gosh, Kelley, I love what you said. It makes sense. And I even forgot to mention jasmine, magnolia, one of our new ones, neroli, rose, all of those. Great for cramps. And they come in the touch rollers. So throw them in your bag, apply them over your abdomen, use them. And it's also that feminine, right? That floral, like getting in tune with the divine feminine and your own inner goddess and all of that. Oh, I love it. Yes. That's my favorite quote, I think, from this whole class is plants look like vaginas. And
they do. Flowers.
I love it. Yes. Flowers. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
It's true. Oh my gosh. This is amazing.
Jolene had a question. She wanted to know if the pump fits on the IQ Omega. I've never tried.
I have not tried putting a pump on this. I actually just pour it straight into the veggie capsule. You can get a little pipette and pipette it out and put it into your veggie capsule, but I just top it off.
Yeah, I do too. I've never actually tried to put a pump on it.
You'll have to try and let us know. And was it Jolene? I missed the name. Jolene. Yeah, try it out and let us know and see what you think. I love being adventurous and trying new things. Okay, some supplements to help you. Magnesium. Get you some magnesium. So I like Natural Calm. Magnesium really helps with improving your sleep. So I call it my sleepy time drink if I have some tea, or just adding this with a little bit of warm water. It also helps with the anxious feelings that you may be having. So this would be a nice one to kind of add in. A lot of us are deficient. In the book that I mentioned to you guys, The Healing PCOS, it actually talked about that women with PCOS are 19 times more magnesium deficient than the average person, which I did not know. So magnesium, all of the wonderful magnesium, iron. When we're bleeding, especially if you're losing a lot of blood, we can go iron deficient. So get you some grass-fed beef, some iron in there, or, take a supplement. I like this one because it's a liquid, and usually liquids can be more easily absorbed, like liquids or powders. So you could try getting a clean food-based supplement to support you too as well with that. The Deep Blue Polyphenol Complex, this again is amazing for healthy inflammatory response, for pain. So use this as well. It's a game changer for me. I take this daily along with my Lifelong Vitality Pack. So again, making sure that you're having those foundations are really important. There's not a single person that I know that is really healthy and thriving and doing awesome and not supplementing, because unfortunately our soils are depleted. We need that. This is really, really important. If you're getting your supplements from Costco or Walmart or the drugstore, wherever, I guarantee you that there's going to be synthetic fillers and nasties, and it could actually be doing more harm than good. So invest in yourself and your wellness and high quality supplements. Lifelong Vitality Pack is what we use and what we take. And the XE omegas, so the fish oil, there was actually a small study found that women who received a 1,000 milligram fish oil capsule during their period had less intense period pains than the group who took ibuprofen when their pain started. Additionally, the women that took the fish oil had more of their pain reduced than those who stuck with the ibuprofen. Plant power. It's fascinating, right? And all the things like these have your vitamin D, which helps with, it acts as a hormone actually in your body. So it's important to optimize that. Vitamin E can really help with premenstrual breast soreness or tenderness, calcium to kind of help with the fatigue, the headaches, the mood swings, any of that stuff. And it's looking at the whole picture. A good probiotic is really, really important also for hormonal balance. We talked about that in our estrogen class last month. It's looking at the whole picture. and supporting yourself in those ways. So definitely look into that. Couple other remedies. We're running a little long on this class, guys. It's going to go over an hour. So you guys can catch the replay if you have to hop up. But there's so much good information we have to share. So thank you guys for hanging on and sticking around with us. But okay, other tips, other natural remedies to help you. Apply heat. So you could do a hot water bottle, which would be awesome, and apply that over your abdomen. I have this rice pack. My mother-in-law actually made this for me. It was a Christmas gift and I use it all the time, and I just heat it up and it works really nicely. So put some heat. There are also little heat wraps like this one, Thermacare here, that you can actually apply. This one is for the neck, but I put it over that area. I think they make some specific for the uterus in that area that you can just wear under your clothes if you're in a situation where maybe you're walking around and you can't sit with a water bottle or a rice pack, a heating pad there. Drinking chamomile tea. There was actually a study published by the Journal of Agriculture and Chemistry that found that there might be a pain relieving property in chamomile tea. There's also this moon cycle tea that I really like as well, that is really helpful for menstrual discomforts, and it's got the chamomile in there. So make yourself a cup of tea. It goes back to that rest and that self-care of ways to take care of yourself using your oils. And acupuncture, one of my favorites. I love acupuncture. I receive an acupuncture treatment once a week. And that's that component of traditional Chinese medicine where they stick small needles into the skin, and it really helps to stimulate the body at certain points and build your chi. Exercise. Studies have shown that physical activity actually can ease menstrual cramps and pain. So again, think calming things, right? Like maybe some yoga, maybe some slow walking, Tai Chi, Qigong, kind of bringing those things in, reducing your stress. We can use essential oils to help us with that. There's actually one of my favorite apps, a meditation app, is Insight Timer. And you can search menstrual meditation, and there is a menstrual meditation on there for you by Iris Josephina. And she actually talks about the importance of rest during our period, and that the natural state of our bodies during this time is going into a withdrawn state of human hibernation, and that it's a time for retreating inward and looking at your menstruating body with a lot of love and kindness and surrender, and allowing your cyclical body to be in this state of complete rest and relaxation. So beautiful, being in a state of calm. So try that. It goes with everything else that we talked about. Okay, TENS. This is fun. This is kind of pulling in some of my physical therapy background here. And TENS is transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation. And a TENS device actually connects to the skin with little patches that you put on, and you can wear that with the little electrodes, and it delivers a varying level of electrical current, and it helps to stimulate the release of endorphins. So you can put these little patches on your body and hook them up. And so this could be something, it actually works. It's kind of your body's natural painkillers. So in studies, TENS was actually more effective than a placebo in relieving menstrual cramps and pain. Talk to your doctor. You'll need a script for this, but this is actually a really great picture that my pelvic floor PT, Kathy, love her, showed me. And what you do, so you have these two leads. So this is front and this is back, and you can screenshot this, and I'll also kind of talk you through with this. So when you're putting the little stickies on for menstrual cramps, what you would do, so you would put like one lead on the lower abdomen here on the right side, one on the left side. And so we're going to call this one 1 and this one 2. So the right one in the front is actually going to connect to the left in the back. It's like you're making an X through the body. So when you hook up the leads, you've got like crisscrossing going on here. And then you can put it in different modes. And you want this for menstrual cramps, you want it to be an intensity that's strong, but comfortable. This should not be painful. This should not hurt. You don't want to turn it up too high, but that could be something, talk to your doctor about and get a script and use, because TENS could be a really powerful thing. It's something that I don't always think about, but it's a really nice thing to have on hand when you need some support. And then also kinesio taping. So kinesiology taping, there's KT tape, there's rock tape, there's a lot of different options too. But this is a fun thing. I have this. I use it for other things, and I didn't think about it for this, but when I was researching for this class, I was thinking, oh, well, yeah, that is a brilliant idea. So get your kinesio tape. And you can actually just put it, you can wrap it around your pelvis before and during your period to help with the menstrual cramps and menstrual pain. But you can actually you can cut it. So you just take the tape and you get your scissors and you can cut it into strips. You'd want them probably bigger for this, maybe about this size, maybe a little bit bigger. And you can actually apply, so 2 pieces of the tape horizontally and then 2 vertically to have on hand. And what you would do is you're going to put it in the pelvic region, but you're going to focus on the area that you have the most pain. So this is going to be dependent on where you're feeling the most pain. If it's more on the left side, you can put it there, right? And just have that there. And there's some videos, some YouTube videos of how to apply these. So I will post them here in the comments, but a 2017 study actually suggested that using the Kinesio tape around your pelvis before and during your period can relieve cramps and other menstrual pain by eliminating that muscle tension in that area. So cool thing, get your Kinesio tape out and use that as well. And then Kelley's got some awesome tips for us to share too.
Okay, we'll wrap up here. Again, thanks for hanging in with us so long, you guys. And I'm going to try Kinesio tape. I would have never thought to do that ever. That's brilliant. Sense. Brilliant. I'm learning so much today. I'm so glad we did this. So some other things you can try. One thing is actually having an orgasm. So it increases blood flow, it eases your period pain, but there's still, again, we talk about the stigma, right, around our periods being dirty. I find that there's also a stigma around having intercourse when we are menstruating. So talk to your partner. Of course, you don't need a partner to have an orgasm, right? Like, let's have that conversation too. However you want to handle that is totally up to you. But, oftentimes our libidos are higher when we are on our periods. And so if you are wanting to connect with a partner and have intercourse in order to achieve orgasm to help with increasing blood flow and easing period pain, and for all the other reasons that we do that, just have that open conversation. And I think you'd be surprised at the response that you get when you come at it from a really open and vulnerable place. And you just explain like, hey, this is what my body's going through, and I could really use this as a way to help ease some discomfort, and also because I just feel like it, right? So yeah, kind of look at that. Also, you could take a detox bath with some Epsom salts and essential oils. It'll help to reduce your inflammation. Throw some magnesium in there too. Magnesium flakes, of course, with your Epsom salt. So really great way to go about reducing inflammation. You can also use some crystals. So this is, again, getting into like real far hippie territory, but we're already here, so might as well. I love it. Some of my favorite crystals to use during my cycle are malachite. Malachite can actually help to reduce cramping and inflammation. It also helps to like ward off negative energies. So if that's something that kind of comes up for you a lot during your cycle, grab some malachite. I actually wear malachite on my wrist every single day without fail for just that reason. Moonstone is another really great crystal to use. That one's going to promote hormone balance, and it's just a really beautiful stone in and of itself. Rose quartz can actually be really helpful for your reproductive system in general. So it can just promote healing for anything that you might have going on, whether that's PCOS or just because you're on your period. And it's also the stone of like love and abundance. So it's just like a really good one to have on hand too. And then jasper. Jasper's a crystal I don't think gets talked about a lot, even in kind of the more crystal sort of space. It can actually help to balance minerals in the body, which is really important when we are on our periods, because like Laura was talking about, we're losing iron and there's a lot of imbalance going on there. So having some jasper on hand, and it can also help to increase blood flow, which can be really helpful, of course, during this time. So yeah, grab your crystals, take a bath, have an orgasm. Sounds like a great time to me.
Yeah. Oh, I'm learning so much from you, Kelley. This has been absolutely fantastic. We hope that you guys have taken some tips and some tools. We want you to be empowered for your period. Again, mastering your menses. We don't want this to be a time of the month that you dread. We actually want it to be a time where you can retreat a little bit and rest and go, and honor yourself and pull in your tools to help you with all of this. And we'll post Kelley's information too above. Please go follow her. She's at all the places, and on Instagram, she's got an amazing YouTube channel. She is just a beautiful soul of light and a soul sister. And I'm so glad that I got to share her with you guys and that you guys have found this helpful. Let us know if you try anything that you've learned from this class. Tag us, comment, post on social media. We love to see how you guys are utilizing this, because again, we can share all of this education and knowledge, but if you're not actually taking action and implementing these things into your daily life, it's not going to serve you. You're not going to see changes. So start there. If you're new to doTERRA essential oils, please reach out to us. If you found this video through Kelley, hit her up. She's an amazing leader. She will take amazing care of you. If you found it through me, reach out to me. We would love to help and support you. We, as you guys can see, there's a lot of people selling a product. There's not as many people that are educating their people and have these tribes and communities with all of that. Anything else that I missed, Kelley? Anything that you want to share?
No, you're beautiful. Thank you so much for having me here and for getting to pour into your people. We love you guys. Thanks for sticking it out with us for so long. I feel like we could do a whole 12-day workshop on this. Maybe we will one day.
Right? Yes, I think we will. Stay tuned. Let us know if you guys would like a workshop, if you guys would really like to dig deeper into this in a more private setting and go deep and really explore that stuff with us. Let us know, because we would be inspired by that and would love to help and serve and show up in ways that are beneficial, because we're going a little bit against the grain here. We're giving you some other options besides just, hey, take this pill. We've got some tools for you. So thank you guys for being here. It is always such a pleasure, and have a great rest of your day. Reach out if you need any help or support. We'd love to support you. Love you guys.
Have a great weekend, guys. Mwah.
Bye.